The African savanna is a place where life is paid for with blood and claws, where the laws of nature are written in brutality and death. But one day, beneath the shade of an old acacia tree, a story unfolded that defied all those rules. It is the story of the strongest mother and a hero from another world, a hero who would do the unbelievable to protect a life. Layla, a proud and powerful lioness, was once the pride's glory. Her life was a series of days spent chasing swift prey and her roars echoing to affirm her dominance over the vast lands of the Serengeti. Layla always led the hunts, with sharp eyes and steady, majestic strides. She lived fully by the instincts of a top predator, never once fearing or bowing her head. But Layla's life changed when she carried a tiny life within her, and now, the life of a warrior had given way to the fragility of a mother. Dawn in the Serengeti is always a picture of both grandeur and harshness. The first rays of sun are not yet strong enough to dispel the thin mist, but have already painted the green grasses gold, creating a breathtaking, ethereal landscape. Beneath an ancient acacia tree, standing alone in the vast savanna, Layla was in labor. Once a symbol of strength and power, she was now a weak, tired, and lonely creature. Her breathing was heavy, her eyes squinted in pain. Layla knew this was the moment she had been waiting for, but also the most dangerous one. She was not just fighting to give birth. She was fighting to survive in an unforgiving world. She let out a weak roar, no longer meant to intimidate, but sounding more like a final prayer. Suddenly, a chilling silence enveloped the space. A pitch-black shadow, long and slithering like an endless river, crawled across the ground. It was a giant African rock python, the savanna's most patient predator. It had been watching Layla since dawn, sensing her weakness and the strong scent of blood. Layla tried to stand up, but her body no longer obeyed. Her faint roar was not enough to drive away the enemy. It was just a desperate plea lost in the vastness of the land. The python slowly began to constrict, making it impossible for Layla to move. Before she could recover from the first danger, Layla faced another, even more brutal threat. The sound and smell of blood had attracted a pack of hungry hyenas. Their chilling laughter echoed everywhere, like a deathly symphony. Layla was trapped between two enemies, one that was constricting her life and one that was ready to tear it apart. The situation was more desperate than ever. She collapsed, her breath ragged, seemingly ready to accept her fate. But in that moment, a miracle happened. A powerful roar, echoing from the depths of a nearby forest, cut through the hyena's laughter and made the python hesitate. The sound was unlike anything on the savanna, carrying a primal force. That roar was not from any predator on the savanna. It had a deep, powerful resonance, as if from another world. From the edge of the forest, a gigantic dark figure advanced toward the acacia tree. It was a silverback gorilla. It stood upright, its shoulders broad, its chest massive, and its eyes fixed on the unfolding conflict. Its appearance stunned everyone. The hyenas, normally ferocious, suddenly became cautious. The rock python recoiled, sensing a completely alien power. This was an uninvited guest from a different world, yet it carried a surprising mission. The hyenas began to communicate with chattering cries, seemingly arguing about this new threat, while the python let out an angry hiss. The gorilla plunged into the fight with determination. Its roar echoed again, this time accompanied by powerful chest pounding, like a declaration of war. Its strength was not only in its muscles, but also in its decisiveness. It didn't attack directly, but used its power and intimidation to drive away the enemies. During the fight, the gorilla didn't use its fangs or claws, but its sheer physical strength. It swung a giant arm, creating a strong gust of wind that made the hyenas flinch. Then, it stomped its foot on the ground, creating a trembling sound that frightened the python. The hyenas began to panic. They scattered, their eerie laughter turning into cries of fear. The rock python, realizing this was not an opponent it could handle, coiled itself up and slithered into the bushes. The battle was over, but the tension had not completely dissipated. The fight ended quickly, yet everything remained tense. The gorilla stood in the silent space, like a guardian deity. It was not a warrior of the savannah, but it had become a savior. Layla, lying motionless, was completely exhausted. She looked at her newborn, a tiny, weak but vibrant lion cub. In her final moments, she let out a roar filled with love, like a farewell to the world and a blessing for her child. Her breath faded, leaving a mournful silence and a tiny, helpless creature. After Layla took her last breath, the space became chillingly quiet. The gorilla stood there silently, looking at the motionless mother and the newborn cub. Pain, or a similar emotion, flickered in its deep eyes. Motherly love is a common language of all creatures, and the gorilla seemed to understand Layla's pain. It didn't leave, didn't return to the forest. Instead, it made a decision no one could have ever expected. It bent down, its eyes filled with concern and worry. With astonishing gentleness and care, the gorilla bent down and gently picked up the lion cub. The cub, though tiny and trembling, felt warmth and peace from the giant embrace. The gorilla held the cub in its arms as if it were its own child. It wouldn't leave the cub alone on the harsh savannah, where death could come at any moment. It began to walk, following a small path, crossing the yellow grasslands, carrying a tiny life and a fragile hope. That journey was an unspoken promise, an affirmation that kindness and courage have no boundaries. The gorilla's journey was long and arduous. It had to cross dry streams, thorny bushes, and the lurking dangers of the savannah. It didn't know the destination, didn't know if anyone could help the cub. It only followed a single instinct, an instinct that transcended all differences of species and habitat, the instinct to protect and shelter a life. The gorilla, a symbol of wild strength, had become a symbol of compassion. It not only saved a life, but also proved that sometimes life and love can connect what seems impossible. After a long and arduous journey, the gorilla finally arrived at a small ranger station, an oasis of compassion in the middle of the wilderness. Crossing rolling hills and dry rivers, it reached the human area, a world completely foreign to it. The gorilla gently placed the lion cub down in front of the station door, looking inside with determined and trusting eyes, as if to say, "I have brought it here. Please take care of it now." It didn't wait for thanks or a reward, simply completing its mission in silence. The rangers, who were used to the strange stories of the savannah, were still stunned by this sight. They had heard tales of animal courage and kindness, but had never witnessed such a miracle. A creature from the deep forest had come to deliver a creature of the savannah into their hands. They cared for the cub devotedly and named him Simba, after the legendary king. They quickly realized this was not a tall tale, but a miracle of kindness. The gorilla stood there silently, watching the rangers care for Simba, then quietly turned and left. Its task was done. It had brought a small life to a safe place, and it had fulfilled a promise to a departed mother. It returned to its forest, carrying a silent story, a story of courage, kindness, and boundless love. The story of Layla and the gorilla quickly spread throughout the savannah, becoming a legend. It served as a reminder of the connection between species, of limitless kindness, and of how courage can emerge from the most unexpected places. The story of Layla, the gorilla, and Simba is not just a savannah legend, but a profound lesson about life.
You're safe now.
It reminds us that life is a series of miraculous connections, and kindness is a common language of all creatures. Layla, the queen of the jungle, is a symbol of strength, but also a reminder of the weakness and fragility of anyone when facing the greatest difficulties. The python and the hyena pack represent the challenges and dangers that are always lurking, the things that can overwhelm us in our weakest moments. And the gorilla? The gorilla is the image of kindness, courage, and empathy. It came from another world, a world we thought was unrelated to our own. But it came to protect another life, for no other reason than an instinct for life and love. This story is a gentle reminder that compassion and courage have no boundaries. We don't have to be the strongest to be a hero. With just one act, one choice to stand on the side of life, to protect the weak, we become a hero. Look at what happened under the old acacia tree. Remember that in this life, sometimes the most miraculous things come from the places we least expect them. And sometimes, for a life to continue, we must break all barriers, all rules, to reach out with a hand of love and give someone a second chance. It is also a reminder of the compassion we need to connect with each other and with the natural world.